Pretties, welcome to EYESHADOW. So today I'm going to redo another video that I did earlier this year. Earlier this year I came up with the idea of going through all my eyeshadow palettes and being like, would I repurchase them? I have grown my eyeshadow collection a lot since I did that video, and I just wanted to kind of redo it because I've made some smart purchases and I've made some not so smart purchases. So yes. Let's just get to it. Let's just get started. This is going in no particular order. I'm just going to start grabbing because I have all my eyeshadows kind of laying on top of each other. Let's just start grabbing and start sorting through them, and I'm going to move things out of the way so I have space to put them once I'm done talking about it. And yeah, please do not forget to like and subscribe so you become a resident of EYESHADOW, and let's get started. I do want to note, by the way, guys, that this video is going up late because, as you guys can tell, it's a little dark. My skin looks a little ghostly right now. It is so gloomy outside. It's been gloomy for 4 days straight. Yeah, and so I didn't feel like recording yesterday because it was too gloomy. So I'm recording today and I'm posting this video as soon as I'm done recording it. So yeah. But yeah, anyway, this is day 4 of Palette Week, and let's get started. If I do this again, and I do plan on doing this again, I'm going to come up with some more interesting videos because I don't know that I just feel like it's a bit repetitive, but I've already committed, I've already announced Palette Week, so I'm not going to back out now. So I'm just gonna put it out there, but I'm gonna come up with some more creative ideas. Anyway, let's get started. So, Morphe 24G, I will not repurchase. I've mentioned this many times, and if you watch my ranking video, which I hope you did, I did not like the palette. Well, I do like the palette, but it's too big. It's just too big. The Cute AF palette, I believe last time I said that I would not repurchase it, but after further consideration, I actually would repurchase this palette. So, I'll put that over there. However, my proceed with caution, I think I have put this as a repurchase, but except for Hazard and Caution, which is these 2 shades right here, and Caution I feel like it's somewhat dupable in my collection, but except for Hazard, I don't think I would want to repurchase the entire palette. I really want that to be a single shadow from ColourPop, because yes, absolutely, I would repurchase a single shadow, but I wouldn't repurchase the entire palette. So some changes there. The Identity palette, I've mentioned this multiple times now. I'm a little disappointed with it. I do like it. I would not repurchase it, but I do like it. I just need to play with it some more. Jesus, if I had a catchphrase, that's the worst catchphrase I have. The Pixie palette, I would not repurchase this palette. This is the only, in 2019 I had a no-buy, and I did really good for the entire no-buy. I did accept gifts, but that's fine. My collection wasn't entirely out of, going crazy or anything. This is the only thing that I bought outside of that no-buy that it wasn't a repurchase, and I totally regret that, and I should have stuck to it or buy. Anyway, yeah. I thought it was going to be a limited edition palette, so I didn't think I was going to be able to buy it in 2020, and yeah, it was still around 2020. So, so repurchase. Party Animal, I would not repurchase this. I'm happy that it's my only rainbow palette, but I would not repurchase it. Yeah, I just wouldn't. Okay. It's not my thing, and I've mentioned that before. At Foresight, I actually would repurchase this palette. I've mentioned this before. This color story is just right up my alley. Really enjoy it. So, yes. Laura Lassange's Cat's Pajamas. I would not repurchase this palette. I really like the color story, but to be honest, this does remind me a little bit of the Give It To Me Straight palette, and since we have them all up here, might as well talk about both of them, just double them. So as you can see, they're somewhat similar color stories. I would much rather repurchase this one than this one right here. I just feel like this one has a little more variety with the shades. There is 2 more colors, but it's just, there's a difference in tones that I prefer here. So I would not repurchase the Cat's Pajamas, but I absolutely, ooh, something just happened. Give me a second, guys. Sorry, I had dug my finger in one of the shades right here and it just made a bit of a mess, but it's fine. It's fine. Anyway, I would repurchase the Give It To Me Straight palette, although I think there is some similarities in this color story. There's just some mauves and more neutral shades that there's not quite there yet that I do enjoy better, and I actually would repurchase this palette. Alright, let's go to the Lime Crime palette. So I did receive this one as a giveaway winner, so I was really happy about that. I've never won a giveaway before, but I actually would not repurchase this color story. I've mentioned it in my ranking video. This is not really what I go for on a regular basis when I think of like color. So actually would not repurchase this palette. So bam. Okay, let's see. Nudie number 2. Very similar color story. I feel like to Cat's Pajamas, somewhat similar color story. I think this might be better this way. However, I don't know that I would repurchase it. It's just interesting because when you look at it in person and even on camera, a lot of these shades look very similar, but on the eye they look very different, which is usually the opposite. Something looks different in the pan, but in the eye they look almost the same. So this is an interesting color story. Again, I haven't played with it enough to really make up my mind as to I would or wouldn't repurchase. Right now, just initial thought, I don't think so. Although I do think it's very pretty, and I'm really happy that it's in my collection. And there is some shades in here that I don't own in my entire collection. And this 2 shadows right here are very interesting, a new formula to me, which I do enjoy. I don't think that I would repurchase them though. Kind of wish she'd come up with that formula in her single shadows. I really want her to expand her single shadows, just in general. I really would like to see that. Another one that I would not repurchase is Boss Babe. So Boss Babe's right here. I mentioned this again in my ranking. This is just not an everyday palette for me. I know a lot of people go through neutrals very often, but I can play with color at work, and so I usually do more colorful looks on this. I just slightly. However, the formula is fantastic. This is not an everyday thing for me. So there is that. All right, let's do something that I would repurchase, because I feel like I've done a lot that I wouldn't. Let me just go with the Identity 2 palette. One of my top 2 favorite palettes. I mentioned is the second favorite palette in my collection. Absolutely, yes, I would repurchase this. This formula is out of this world. I think this is a palette where if I ever were to finish or if it expired, I definitely would repurchase it. I think as I get older, this is something that would keep looking good on me no matter what, because these shadows are just so blendable, so easy. They're so smooth. These shimmers are like nothing I've ever experienced, and I really enjoy this formula. Yes, I would repurchase it. So there's that. All right, let's go back to the no repurchase. Here is the no shocker, the ColourPop Sweet Talk palette. I would not repurchase this. I don't know that it's a regret purchase, but it's definitely a disappointing purchase. And I've ranted about this multiple times, so I'm not gonna go over it too much, but I would never purchase this. It was very disappointing to me. I do enjoy these shades, and I'd like every look that I've created with this. I'm just a little disappointed. That's all. Another ColourPop Double Entendre. To be 100% honest, I'm gonna talk about Nudie Patootie because I think I have to. If I didn't own Los Angeles Nudie Patootie, I would repurchase Double Entendre, because I feel like everyone needs that one really good neutral palette. And although I do feel like this is slightly warmer and it's not my jam anymore, there are enough neutrals, which is really this last row right here, which is the ones that, I don't know if you can tell, I have hip hand here, and I do have a really large dip right there in this one. I do like these shades, and I actually do like this ones right here. I just don't like this shade right here. It's one of those like sequin, those kind of shadows. And like I said, I just don't go for these warms anymore in the middle. But if I didn't have this palette, I actually think I would repurchase it, because I do think everyone needs a palette like this somewhat. But I would much rather go with Nudie Patootie. I absolutely would repurchase Nudie Patootie. It just has neutral shades. You can go slightly warmer with Butt Naked right here. And I do like that it has these 2 pinks and mustard shades, as well as these 2 dual chromes right here. And I just feel like this palette is really interesting, and it has really good different kinds of textures, and I really enjoy it. I definitely would repurchase Nudie Patootie. All right, this is one where I think I said last time that I would repurchase it. Maybe I didn't. I definitely changed my mind, and that is the Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette. I would not repurchase this palette. The reason for it is because of the So Jaded palette. Because of the So Jaded palette, and I'll go in a second. there is a lot of repetition in this palette that I don't think it's necessary. I actually think that if this was a 20 pounds instead of 35, you can still keep pretty much the entire color story and not really give up anything. I just don't feel like you need 2 of these shades, you know. You don't need 3 of these pinks right here. You could have done with 1 or 2, you know. I don't think you need like this bronzy shimmer right here and this bronzy shimmer right here, you know, even though they're different, they're similar. Or maybe these 2, you know. There's just a lot of similar tones. I don't think you need these 2 right here. I think those 2 are different undertones but very similar. But it's similar to here, you know, and then these 2 are similar. So I just feel like there's too many similarities. I don't think you needed this dark purple. It doesn't look purple, but it is. I don't know, you see what I mean? There's just too many duplicates within the palette for me to be able to say, yes, I would repurchase the entire palette. So no, I wouldn't. So just gonna put that right there. All right, let's get to While Nothing. This is an interesting one because I keep going back and forth with it in my mind because I was like, I would repurchase this entire bottom row. I actually would repurchase the entire bottom row, but I wouldn't repurchase the top 2. And I'm just gonna round up essentially, and if I can't repurchase the top 2, then I can't repurchase the whole thing. That was really hard. I actually kind of wish they had Come Together and Vagabond. Again, in Spanish it said it's pronounced vagabundo. Ooh. My screen's doing something weird. Hold on. It seemed to have stopped on its own. I don't know. That was strange. But anyway, if these 2 were single shadows, I actually would repurchase them. But I don't think I need to repurchase the entire palette. So, no. Alright. Sleigh Bell. This is another one where I wish they were single shadows. If Jolly was a single shadow, I would 100% repurchase Jolly. Do I think I need the entire palette? No. So I'm rounding up. I would not repurchase this palette. All right. The Pure X Raw Beauty Christie palette. This one's hard because I would definitely 100% repurchase the neutral side. I think this is just really right up my alley. However, I don't know that I would want to repurchase the entire colorful side. I've mentioned having some issues with the purple right here, and this kind of shade of green is not my favorite kind of shade of green. I really like something more dark, kind of like the one I have in my nail. That's really just more my round, or maybe more olive, similar to what's in the At Forest side palette. So this one's a little bit of an interesting one because there is some shades that I actually wouldn't mind repurchasing, like this Dandelion. I actually do like Loomis quite a bit. And I think in my orange is a really interesting shade. Out of all the palettes that I said that I would repurchase, I don't think it's quite there yet. So I actually don't know if I would repurchase this palette or not. I'm gonna round up. Most shades in here I would repurchase. So I will repurchase this palette. Interesting. I didn't think I would do that. I really thought I was gonna figure that one, then no. Yes, obviously. This has been ranked my #1 palette multiple times. Best purchase I made this entire year by far. Yes. Okay, I was petting my dog right before all of this, and I've mentioned it before, she's a white Swiss Shepherd puppy, and she is just very white. All her hairs are stuck to me, so gross, sorry. Anyway, yes, I would repurchase this. This is such a unique palette to my collection, and I really enjoy it. Yes, that's it. All right, so I do want to do a little math, so let me get off camera for a little bit, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So I have 14 palettes that I would not repurchase, and I have 7 that I would, which means 33% of my eyeshadow collection I would actually repurchase. That is very interesting. It's higher, I think, than what I had before. I honestly don't remember because I didn't do the math last time. But I just think that's interesting to see because I like all my eyeshadow palettes. I have certain thoughts about 3 of them that I'm like, I'm not 100% sure how I feel about them. I don't know that I necessarily need them. But overall, I enjoy all of my eyeshadow palettes. Even those that I have like mixed feelings about, I do enjoy them. I do like them. And hence why they're still in my collection. Because if I didn't, I would get rid of them. But yeah. Now, I do have another palette that I bought that hasn't arrived yet. It was supposed to get here yesterday, actually. But then they updated the shipping label, and now it says that it's not gonna get here till Monday, which is fine. It's the holidays, so totally okay. Don't need another palette anyway. But it's just, I just feel like this number is really low. I feel like I need to be smarter in 2021 about purchases that I'm making, which is interesting, you know. Overall, I just, because a lot of these palettes that are in the non-repurchased, I got this year, like a lot of them. So just gotta think about that a little more. Anyway, thank you so much. Please don't forget to like and subscribe so you become a resident of Ipsterville. I need to be with my thoughts for a minute because I don't know how I feel right now. But I'll see you in the next one. Yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.